Hey guys, I'm Brian. She's Brenda on YouTube at New Life Recovery. Good morning, Brenda. How are you?
Good morning, Brian. You know what? I'm pretty good. It's Friday. Great. How are you?
I'm pretty well. I'm pretty well, all things considered. So I had a member this week talking about just really struggling to forgive himself for the things he's done and the lies he's told and the hurt that he's caused. And I think that that's a big issue within the recovery community and any of us that are trying to learn and grow and create a better version of ourselves. So to kick things off, what are your thoughts, Brenda? How important is it to forgive ourselves, you know, as it relates to even just our mental health, but all the more those in recovery?
I think it's one of the hardest things to do is to forgive yourself. Innately, I'm a people pleaser, and I will give somebody three or four chances. I used to give them 20. I've learned. I will give them three or four, though. It's easier to forgive other people. I have a huge problem with forgiving myself. I think we're all the hardest critics of ourselves. I do think we have to take responsibility for our actions, but I also think we have to take equal responsibility that when other people forgive us, we have to forgive ourselves. Quit bringing it up, quit apologizing. Do you have any helpful steps on how to do that by chance, sir?
Yeah, for sure. So when we think about forgiveness, um, one way we could define forgiveness is giving up our right to stay angry and giving up our right to get even. And by so doing, we take back the power that has over us. So, um, forgiveness doesn't mean that what I did was okay. Just like if I forgive you, it doesn't mean that what you did was okay. So, one of the barriers for us to forgive ourselves is I look at what I did and it's so wrong and it's so shameful, right? That I can't forgive myself. Well, forgiveness doesn't mean that we're saying what we did was okay. We're giving up our right to get even and we're giving up our right to stay angry and we're taking back the power that has over us. So, forgiveness doesn't mean that things can go back the way they were. We were talking before we got on the show today about setting boundaries, um, maybe we need to set new boundaries so that things don't happen again.
Well, and when I was growing up, boundaries wasn't even a word. Like in the last 20 years, boundaries has become a word, and there's books now, and there's education on setting boundaries. But for some, we didn't have them growing up, so therefore, me setting them, I did a really lousy job at it.
Yeah,
Um, so if I set lousy boundaries with other people, of course, I'm going to set lousy boundaries with myself and what I allow. But I can tell you, I do not allow what I did 20 years ago. And the mistakes I made 20 years ago, I can forgive myself, but the forgiveness only works if I promise not to do it again. Forgiveness and repentance is kind of a little, they're kind of buddies. They're on the same hand. They're not the same fingers, but they're on the same hand. I think it's easier to forgive yourself if you know you're not going to do a certain action again.
right, right. And that's another thing. See, that is that thing having power over you.
Yeah.
That has power over me because I want to forgive myself now so that I can go on into the future. But that that fear that I'm going to do it again, we almost think if I forgive myself, it's going to give myself permission to do it again. And that's the same as when we forgive others. One reason uh it's hard for me to forgive my wife. It's hard for me to forgive my husband. It's hard for me to forgive my friend or my boss or my coworker because I think they might do it again. And the truth is, they might do it again. But it's almost like I'm tricking myself to stay stuck in that. That still has power over me because of my concern it might happen again. It's like I don't want to open up my heart to you because I don't want to get hurt again. So if I stay behind this wall of unforgiveness, you can't hurt me. And the same is true when we're talking about forgiving ourselves. I can't hurt myself if I don't forgive myself. But that's a lie. You know,
Well, and also you can use unforgiveness as a tool. Look what happened last time. I forgive myself for making that bad choice, but I'm not going to make a similar choice. It's not the same, but similar. because I no longer trust my knower. I no longer trust myself. Then, therefore, you haven't truly forgiven yourself. We all make mistakes. We're all human. There's not one. I only know of one perfect person, and we killed him. I used to say that all the time. Uh, there's just, it's hard to forgive. It's hard to repeatedly forgive, but it gets easier when you quit making the same mistakes.
True, but that whole unforgiveness, I think of like a ball and chain you see in the old
Yes.
cartoons or prison movies.
Yeah.
It keeps us stuck in the past. It keeps us living there because I can't go on because I'm chained to this unforgiveness. So when you think about the right to not stay angry, we got to give up our right to stay angry and our right to get even. Um, Memories are triggered just like a trigger for our addictions. Memories trigger the thought and the emotions that come with it. So not only do I remember the things I've done, that memory triggers the guilt and shame of, that I'm feeling. So every time I'm reminded of that, here comes this wash of guilt and shame. And one practical thing we can do, and this could be groundbreaking for some of us guys. Um, there's a particular place that I would drive by, and every time I drove by that place, I would be triggered. And just a wash of guilt and shame every time I drive past that place. And so that's a trigger for me. And I want to stay angry at myself and I want to get even. And that's one big thing that keeps us in unforgiveness. I need to get even with myself. I don't deserve to be happy. Um, but if we can rewire our neurons to say, every time that I see that place, now I'm going to pause and say, I'm thankful. I'm grateful that I'm not in that place anymore. I'm grateful that I've grown beyond that. I'm grateful that I'm forgiven. I'm grateful that I'm not the person, that did that stuff anymore. And so now every time I drive past that place, I keep washing my mind with, oh, I'm grateful. What I've done is begun to build a new neural connection with a positive feeling. And that can really be powerful because what is it doing? It's taking the power of that away. Um, I have a right to stay angry if you hurt me. I have a right to get even if you hurt me. And I feel like I have a right to stay angry at myself and to get even with myself if I hurt myself. But by giving up that right here and now, Brian, I forgive you to the best of my ability. I'm not going to stay angry and I'm not going to get even. I'm going to give it over to God as I understand Him. And as far as it pertains to me, I'm going to go on my life. Now, sometimes that's not a one-time thing. I could,
Oh, absolutely not. And sometimes it's an everyday thing. Sometimes you got to do it when you pass that building in the morning and when you pass that building at night, because where you live, you can't do anything but pass that building.
yeah,
And it's great that you said redirecting the pathways in your brain, because another way to begin to forgive yourself, which is not, but it is a start, is that I'm not where I was and I'm not where I want to be, but I'm on my road.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, this is hard. This is freaking hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it and everybody would scoff at it. Recovery, addiction. I mean, it's hard to be addicted and it's hard to recover. Either way,
yeah.
it's hard. So
Yeah.
either way, and it's good, like you said, when you can redo your brain pathways so that you can just start. It's that one match, that light from that one match that illuminates the darkness, but then it's only for a second. But then look, you have one match and then another and another. And if we could start that flame in our brain in a good way,
Exactly. That's so
then
good.
we could help other people. We could help
Yeah,
other people light a match.
yeah. So, guys, this is a deep topic, and we could have gone so far, but I hope that gives you a little bit of help into forgiving yourself, being compassionate to yourself. Um, I'm Brian. She's Brenda on YouTube at New Life Recovery. God bless you. We love you. And until next time, be well.